Hello, hello.
Hola.
Hi,
Hola.
Hi, you guys. Hello. Welcome aboard once again. It's amazing to have you on board. It's been quite a while since we've last seen each other. If you may, we will be also asking you to turn your cams on. If you feel comfortable with this, we'd like to see some smiley faces for tonight, for Rolando specifically. Today we're basically kickstarting our program with our very own Rolando. So please, a little applause, a round of applause for Rolando.
Don't worry. It's not necessary.
So we are kickstarting our program with our very first talk session, Embracing Future Trends in Digital Arts, featuring Rolando. I was maybe supposed to give this stage to you to maybe introduce yourself, but I am allowed to introduce my guest. So let me quickly introduce you first and then take it over.
Okay.
Rolando is an accomplished architect and senior 3D artist who has contributed his expertise as part of Jester 3D architectural visualization crew and the visionary founder behind art exhibitions and retail design. Today, throughout this 1.5 hour-ish event, we'll delve into the captivating landscape of digital arts alongside Rolando, and we'll explore how emerging technologies such as AI-generated art, virtual reality, and interactive installations are reshaping the canvas of artistic expression from the lens of Rolando. This session has a specialty. We'll be streaming this session on our YouTube channel, so we're welcoming some other audience with pleasure. Before I give the stage to Rolando for his talk, I also like to remind you that after we listen, Rolando will have a really small co-ideation session. So we're kindly asking for you to bear with us for an extra 30 minutes. For small co-ideation, we'll be more than happy if you could just give us this time. So no more talking from my ends. I'm giving my mic and leaving the stage to Rolando. Rolando, thanks so much once again for accepting the invitation and being with us tonight or this afternoon in your time.
Yeah, it's lunchtime, but don't worry, we can make it later. Okay, so first of all, thank you all for being here. I know everyone's time is important and valuable. So the goal of this session is to give us some glimpse of what is going on with digital arts, AI, and many other things that are currently happening on design in different areas. And maybe this would help you in the near future in your decisions on where to focus your efforts, your design, or improve your pipelines in design processes. So first of all, I'm going to share a presentation. Okay. Okay, let me know when you see it.
Yes, we see it.
Perfect. So to get started, I would like to make a little introduction of what's been going on the last year, because this process of new technologies, specifically AI, is very recent, but things have changed quite quickly in the last year, especially in the capacities of creating ideas, of new tools. Some tools appear and disappear in a week because the challenge is so fast that it's easy to be replaced by another technology in just a few weeks. So, for example, I would like to start with the beginning. 1 year ago, I've been working the last 20 years in architecture, especially commercial architecture, retail design, point of sale design. So if you have the chance to see my work previously, you know, it's not just architecture, it's really related to industrial design, it has a different language. And that language is the result of those 20 years of work in these areas. So the first thing I would like to say is that there is it's very important to accumulate experience in your area of design in arts, because this experience is going to be reflected using these AI tools, for example. So I was hearing just yesterday that someone says, okay, let's learn architecture, in this case, using AI. Yeah, that's not going to happen, because you have to be an architect before to translate your knowledge into the AI. So AI is a tool. It's something that's going to improve your work, but it's not the designer. And that's a common mistake, and I've seen it in the last year, that people is waiting to AI to solve the problems. But if we are not clear as professionals what problems are more important and what needs to be resolved, the AI is going to give you random results. So that's a very important, and we're going to talk about that later, aspect of using these new tools. So for example, here you see on the screen, one of my first explorations using AI tools, specifically Midjourney, which is, I believe, is the more accurate one representing your own ideas. I've tested 10 more different AIs, and they have their advantages, but this one is more friendly use and more accurate. And I think as designers, this is very important. We don't have much time when we have a deadline for a project, so we have to use it very wisely and take the best results in the shortest time, and with a smaller effort, because we are not dealing just with one project at the same time. We're working in many things at the same time, so we have to be very accurate, very focused on what we're looking for. So as you see this exploration, I love it because first Midjourney versions and other AI versions like DALL-E and Stable Diffusion and the Forum and others give you this kind of sketch. So as you see, it's like a painting, but you can get ideas, you can explore things it's like a very advanced sketch. So in design, it's very important, and in arts in general, to have a preliminary sketch exploration. I believe the trap is when you believe that if something looks very real and very sharp in the end, that's you have reached the goal. And people forget about exploration. Exploration is very important because it's what human beings have been doing in all their history. So we cannot replace exploration just because we have new tools. We still need exploration. So in this case, I was exploring like futuristic cities, futuristic buildings. So it's very interesting because these tools use all the common knowledge we already have and create new stuff from that knowledge. So many people think the AI is copying, you know, this section of the building from one picture and this section of the other building. That's not the truth. It's really creating new content. So it's like a rendering in real time somehow, because it's calculating the lights, it's calculating the camera angles, the perspective, the coherence of the whole shot. So that's very powerful, and that's why when I started was very impressed, because that coherence is what I've been working in the last 20 years also in 3D visualization. So I have a very trained eye in composition. So when I found out this composition was generated in real time, I was amazed, because this would took hours, days, and in some cases, depending on the complexity of the project, weeks. So I see it as an advantage at the first time, and I jump into it without hesitation. For example, if this was a cafe in the rooftop of a building, so what I want you to see is not like the quality, and in terms of it looks like a painting, it looks like a rendering, it looks like a photo. What I want you to see is the atmosphere. If I can replicate in a real life project this atmosphere, then I am taking advantage of the tool. It doesn't matter if the terrace has a different shape, a different color, but the mood of the scene is lovely. I would like to be there drinking a coffee or talking with my friends or seeing the stars at night in this warm place. So that's part of the exploration, the emotions, what you can generate in other people, in the clients, in yourself, in your most close people or fellows in your group of designers or at the office. And then you can also explore things more, like surreal, which I believe is very related to imagination, because many of the things we already have in our societies, they were first dreams, they were first just ideas. So if we don't give a chance to us to explore that space of even if it's not accurate in terms of construction, in terms of materials, but give you the chance to explore, is very, very important. I forget to mention that when I was younger, I used to paint, make a sculpture with many materials, and this is a way to translate that. It's the same phenomenon, because I have done it both, and it's important to follow your heart in this kind of processes, because people a lot of the time lose is looking just for the result, but they forget that the process is as important as the result. So if we got a bad process, even if we get the result, maybe the client won't be happy with it, because they fall in love with the process, and we need it, and that's the human experience, and we cannot avoid it. So that's very important using these new tools. For example, at this very moment, I'm developing a project with a group of designers in the metaverse. And what we do, for giving you an example, is we first design with our own experience, and then once we have our own designs, sketches, and renderings, we introduce those renderings into the AI tools, and then the AI gave us different solutions of our own designs. So, we are using our own ideas, but we're giving variants of those ideas in a very short period of time with those AI tools. So that gives us an advantage in comparison to other metaverse developers, because we're moving faster, and not only faster, in a more accurate way. So that's very important in today's design areas: architecture, graphic design, web developing, all the areas related, because now knowledge is completely related. The boundaries between different areas of designs are very difficult to find sometimes. And for example, in this case, what you see in image is it was a crystal building. It was a mall. I was thinking of a more foggy atmosphere, more like go at night with a family, or to drink some wine in a romantic place. So what the AI did was to understand what I was trying to tell her, the emotions that I want to generate, and the concepts also. For example, this concept, I explored it about 20 years ago. And it was when I was studying architecture, and we were building like some 3D models, but using plastic based on certain geometries. and we have to create a building based on that. So now I got the tool to represent that in a new level, and that's the advantage. But the concept was human at the beginning. It was always human, and we have to don't forget that, because if we lose that aspect, that this is just tools, they are not the designers, we're gonna get lost, and the result will be random. Maybe you won't be given any solution to anything, just something beautiful, but without pointless, without any profound meaning or concept behind. And so, for example, these ones were also the first ones. These were spaces of meditation, but also of larger scale for many people that gather together. It maybe can be like a refugee or a place to gather people to protect them from the exterior, or for meditation or something like that. So I was amazed by the sensations that were able to be generated, because as humans did, emotions are very important. Emotions toward a specific design is gonna tell the client if they want the project, or they're gonna reject it, or if they're gonna find someone else. And for example, here is an image of the next version of Midjourney at that time, and now you can see it's more accurate. The shapes are more defined, the borders, the scale. Also, this was like in a structure next to a airport to distribute the vehicles movement, and also the people movement next to the airport. But it was very organic, and trees were going to grow inside of it, and it's going to make a micro climate. So it's very interesting. Maybe you can say, well, this is going to be very expensive. This is well, it's not related to another aspect, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is that you have a different approach to a problem of design, a different approach to a solution. Maybe this technology doesn't exist right now, or it's too expensive, but in the coming years, that is going to change. So you have to be also visionary using these tools, not stay with what you already have. You have to like look a little bit in the future. Okay, we're very close to solve this problem or this technology. Well, I'm going to propose something based on that. So being visionary, being innovative, I think is very important, because otherwise we're going to just be repeating what we already have. And what we already have hasn't solved many of the problems we have as human beings. So as you see here, let me move this right away. AI is a tool. Well, why AI is pushing the boundaries of artistic expression? Well, AI has come to stay, and we cannot change it. And it's moving so fast that we can barely react sometimes to the progress. If, for example, if you stay 2 weeks out of this and you came back, you're going to be outdated. You're going to have to spend a lot of time going back to the road to understand what's going on. So that's another important aspect. AI moves faster than human beings can react. So as equilibrated human beings, we have to use these tools as humans, not as machines. And I'm telling this because a few months ago, many of the designers I know and I appreciate a lot, and that are doing the same thing, they were all tired because the day has no more hours. They have to work after works, even spend the weekends learning new stuff. So suddenly they lose their lives, they lose the balance. And you know, a designer that is out of balance is not going to create a balanced design. That's important, because design is just part of our lives. is not the whole part of our lives. So I commend this because nobody is talking about this. Everybody's talking about the great things, but nobody's talking about the other side that is part of this process. So those are the kind of recommendations I can make to you people to take these tools to learn them in a equilibrated way. So that's what I'm trying to show you right now. So now we're going to talk about two main things, which are the AI pros and the AI cons, because there are many of both. So for example, the first AI pro is that you can create concepts in a very fast way. In this case, for example, you see that this was a bench based on a star shape. Most of these are random results. These are not final results. For example, when I'm developing a project, I make hundreds, and even one time I make more than 1,000 images just to get what I wanted, because the AI was giving me what it considered the right result, but it was not what I wanted. So these ones are the first approaches to a bench based on a star. Then you can change the camera angle, you can change the time of the day, you can change the location, you can change if you want people in the bench, you want a dog sitting in the bench, you want a larger, a different angle, you want a different material, different color, different texture. So it's very, very useful to generate explorations of concepts in a very fast way. Then, as architects, as designers, you'll have to make all the other work that is needed to make. You have to make the plans, the anthropometric measures, the budget, the presentation for the client, all this stuff. So this is just a part of the process. It's not the final result. The other great thing about AIs is that they can find patterns, and I believe this is amazing because they can take patterns from different cultures, different types of design, and reproduce them in new constructions. In this case, I was building like a Mayan museum, and the amazing is what I just feed it with some images, some sketches also, and then at the first time the AI is learning. I forgot to mention the AI is learning in real time. So the first results are gonna look awful, ugly. They're gonna miss information, and some people get tired at that point. But if you continue exploring, the AI is gonna learn in real time, and all of a sudden it's gonna upgrade the result. And it's very interesting because once you reach the best, like the peak of the best result, then it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down because there's a certain level of degradation in the results once you reach that peak. So you have to be wise and understand, okay, I obtained the best from this, but I can't go farther because the AI now is gonna just give me random results because it doesn't understand that we have reached that desired result. So that's another important aspect when you're developing concepts using AIs, that you have to know where to stop, and you have to know what are the main words, main elements you're going to use to express your ideas. For example, in those two images of the same project I created, it's amazing how now, 1 year later, it's almost reproducing the Mayan hieroglyphs. But in 6 months, it's going to be completely accurate. It's going to be amazing, and it's scary and amazing at the same time. But once it understands those patterns very deeply, you're going to be able to reconstruct, for example, archaeology and other buildings that are destructed with other information. And that's what I'm going to show you here. For example, this is a photograph using LiDAR radar information. LiDAR, it's a radar system that removes the vegetation and can go deep into the earth. I believe like a half a meter, and you can see what is constructed down on the earth and also behind nature, behind trees. So for example, imagine what was in the last images, the patterns. Then let's combine those patterns with LiDAR technology. Then the AI is going to be able to reconstruct completely the city because it's going to understand how it works, how they build the buildings, how they use hieroglyphs, how they use stairs, how they use ramps. So it's going to be very useful, for example, in archaeology, but use this same way of thinking in other areas of design. You're going to be able to find hidden patterns of ancient art, of ancient inspirations. So it's amazing. Sometimes it's going to be by accident. Sometimes it's going to be intentionally. But that doesn't matter because at the end, you're moving forward in the understanding of a new information and new technologies. For example, in this case, you can see this was generated with computer, how you see the ruins of the building, but then you see how someone else has to construct it based on patterns. But in the near future, the AI is going to be able to reconstruct it completely without human intervention because it's going to understand the patterns. And also, it's going to, once one pattern is broken, it's going to tell the user, in this case, the designers or the archaeologists or anything, that something is different. That something different maybe is a new discovery. So patterns is one of the greatest things I have found out of these AI tools. Another great pros is the capacity of coherence and synthesis. In this case, you are seeing a school based on hexagons. I created with another AI architect, Ulises, which is a great AI concept developer. And we were thinking about the future and how to make kids have a better learning. What happens most of the time that the schools and the teachers and the methods don't motivate kids to learn. So that's a big problem because if you don't feel good in the place you want to learn, if you don't feel that energy of learning, of the passion of learning, you're not gonna learn the best way. Some people will hate even study. So next, and as I see, new generations need a lot of motivation because this is a very compulsive world, and the one we live in now. So this project was about giving them something they could love. I love to go to this school because it's beautiful, and I love to be in that balcony because in that balcony we created a project for science. We created a project for social studies or for anything else. So in AI, as a tool, I believe we can show a different future, a better future, because we have fallen to the point that we are just creating the same things we already have. We are just repeating the same solutions, and nobody asks why we are just repeating the same solutions. There is no different thinking. So these tools give you the chance to express new ideas of a new, more beautiful future, I believe. The other pros I consider is very important is the combining knowledge. In this project, for example, I was creating religious buildings based on mandalas. And as you see, it used mandalas, but it also combined it with Islamic architecture. There's Byzantine also influences. So what is great about this, that you can separate the concept and make it very pure, or you can combine different concepts that in history of human history didn't combine really. So you can find different approaches to design with the knowledge we already have. So that's very, very important, because that limit is disappeared completely. Now we can combine things that nobody combined before. And I always think about Newton and the apple and gravity. He made a link using the apple to understand that was gravity. But if that apple didn't fall from the tree, he wouldn't discover the power of gravity. So what we're creating with AI tools are links of information, and those links are going to be used by other people to create new links. So we can create, in a very fast period of time of human history, thousands of useful links that other designers, other people can use to improve their lives, improve design experiences, improve projects. So that's very important to take from these tools right now. Okay. Here, for example, this is a project that is in my Instagram, where they were like African schools and universities, and how to take patterns from African art to create something beautiful. Because, as you know, Africa has a lot of problems with education. They don't, especially economic problems, but also they don't have good installations for kids. And that's a big problem, because education is the road to get a better life and to get better opportunities, job opportunities, to make your country better. So I was trying to inspire African people to go farther. Maybe you can say, okay, those patterns look good, but I don't know, they are from just a part of Africa, and Africa is there are dozens of different cultures. Okay, but this is just the beginning. This is just a first approach to this problem. Once I publish this, many people from Africa, it's architecture students and other, contact me to include these images in expositions, because they feel recognized. And I believe something very important when we're designing and we're creating digital arts or anything is to respect the beliefs, the culture of the final user, or in this case, the client. So we have to jump in, try to get into their minds, understand from their cultures, and bring something of value of that represents them, really represents them. Not just a nice solution that is imported from other country. Maybe it will work, but they won't feel it belongs to them. So that's very important in general in design. Okay, for example, these are different uses you can have for AI. This was a project about fashion. I was talking about in the future, as people we would use headphones of different sizes, mixed with fashion, to communicate, and those headphones would generate lights, and depending on the emotion you have, it's gonna generate a different color light, and depending of the if you want to communicate with someone, it's gonna show different lights and sounds, and this is kind of dystopian concepts, because I was criticizing basically that we have lost so much the capacity of communication that we're gonna need technology to express our own emotions. So it's like a critic. I believe AI can be used also as a critic of things that appear to be normal, but at the end they are not. That we have assumed that they are normal because they happen all the time, but they are not. So, but you can create something beautiful also. So, for example, I create this video that was like a morphing between many of these designs. Okay, as you see, the concept is very interesting. Some people in Instagram comment, no, the headphones are going to be very small as we already have them. But okay, maybe in terms of function, but in terms of fashion, that is the approach is completely different. So it is very important to take in consideration the aspect you are developing using these tools. Also, another important thing is that this kind of videos is used mixing 2 or 3 different kinds of AI tools. So if you want to get higher results, I invite you to combine tools because it's very interesting. It's very exploring. You have to spend some time, but it's amazing and it's worth the exploration. Here, for example, is another use is for gaming. This project I never published it because once I finish it, the next generation of AI tools was free, and it was outdated at that moment. So I have done hundreds of projects I have never published, but they were my explorations, and I think that's like a diary when you are writing your own story and exploring your own ideas that are inside of you. That's very important. So most of the time I publish just the projects I believe people would understand the most because it represents most the more quantity of people of global thinking, of collective thinking. So for example, it was for gaming. Let me see if the audio is high. Okay. So for example, the one thing amazing about this is that I use the music that I like, but I find some relationship with the project. So I believe that that's part of the human experience as designers, as artists. We have to use our own experiences. For example, if you go to a movie and you see the movie and you find something of interest, that has to be reflected somehow in your next project, because as designers we are always influenced by the ideas and our surroundings and the people that is next to us. So that's what makes us humans. And for example, AI tools don't have that. And if we want to make this process human, we have to involve all our humanity, emotions, music, art, family, everything, because that's what makes this process worth it. Otherwise, as I mentioned before, that will be just some beautiful results, but that's it. Okay, so for example, it was I used in many of my works I use the human shape because I believe we have forget the beauty of the human shape. The face, the importance of the face, which is the first point of communication between people, how to understand their intentions with a smile, with their eyes, how they look, how they don't look. So it's like saying, okay, this is AI, this is robotics, this is all this technology, but don't forget to look at yourself. Don't forget that you are human, and even if you're using technology, you have to make it through your human nature. So for example, this is a robot observatory because I believe the first observatories were our own eyes looking at the sky. So it's like a metaphor between before real observatories existed, we were looking at the sky. So if we mix that, the human and the observatory, we obtain this. And I believe it's beautiful. So as you see, also the music is related. This is a song from the 80s, and the song is a critic to robotic life. So how we been displaced by robotics, how people lose their jobs, and so we have to talk about this. Maybe in another talk we can mention all this kind of stuff, copyright, the work displacement, because that's an important topic. For example, I'm going to talk about it in the cons in the next images, because it's more wider. And here's, for example, some videos I made using a third AI tool, which is named Runway. Is well known. It requires more work, and I stopped working on this because it takes so much time, and the impact in platforms is so low, because you cannot see the videos on a landscape way, so all the detail is missing. So this is based on one of my first AI works, that is the Nautilus house, based on these sea creatures. They are related to the nature of mathematics that we can find in different creatures, and the auric proportion, the Fibonacci, the structure, and so I wanted to convert it into something that is alive, the living house somehow, but it's like a creature, but at the same time it's a building. So that's the story I wanted to say, and for storytelling, that is a section of digital arts. This is very important, so I'm gonna play it. Let me put it a little bit less louder. Okay. So as you see, it's like a living creature. It's there's a story behind it. It's like a living creature that comes out of the sea every 10 years, every 15 years. So people can live in the house for a while, but then the house goes down to the deep of the ocean. So it's also related to poetry. I believe digital arts, as part of art expression, has to involve different kinds of influences and different kinds of source of inspiration. So poetry, literature, books, films, music. That's very important to produce something with deep content. With deep content, it doesn't matter if everyone understands it. That's not the point. The point is the expression, and the exploration. I'm gonna show you this one. It's very interesting. Also, it's used also Runway. It took a lot of time for the creation and the selection of the music and everything, and it's a critic for the replacement of real music in the future. So robots and AI are going to be so accurate and so in a top level that musicians that take 30 years to be the best violinists in human history are going to be replaced. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to respect our musicians? Are we going to put a limit? Where's the limit? And that's very important. The people don't talk about this often. Where's the limit in terms of art expression, in terms of professions, in terms of putting the humans in the first place, and machines and technology and tools in the second, third, and fourth place? So people are not considering this. And at a certain point in the near future, those limits are going to have to be created, because otherwise we're going to destroy our society structure and our identity and many other things. So I know this is more philosophical, but it's part of design and part of art. We cannot just put it aside and think everything's fine and just enjoy the great things. We have to look at this part of the thing, and also the copyright, the laws. Where's the line? I am creating new contents. I'm just copying already that already exists. I am being honest using the information. So that kind of talks, we're gonna have to have them with many other professionals from other areas, and not just design, also law, economics, philosophy, and many other things. So I'm gonna play it. I hope it's not that high again. Okay. So as you see, what we're trying to communicate are more emotions. The images are just the tools to those emotions. Okay, and here comes the other list, which are the cons. They are as much as the good things, but it's normal in any kind of new process. So the first con I find is human becoming the tool, and that's what I find many users of these tools often do, which is they just rely on the random results. So if you're looking, I don't know, to represent a futuristic living room with certain qualities and characteristics, and you just receive the first image and it looks great, I'm going to use it, then you are not using the tool as a designer. You just relying on random results. So all of a sudden you become the tool. You are the tool, just typing the words, and who is designing based on what is good or what is bad or what is best is the AI. So avoid becoming the tool. That's my first recommendation. The second thing is to obtain absolute definitions of beauty, which I call reductionism. And I'm gonna move forward one slide to show you this kind of problem using AI tools. For example, in this case, I was exploring a building constructed with wood, but with different patterns. And as you see, they all look beautiful, but they all use different patterns to resolve the facades of the building. And it's very interesting because you can use this in a preliminary stage of design to explore what is best in terms of exterior materials and exterior expression. But then I use the same prompts and the same words and the same logic with new versions of Midjourney in this case, and this is what I obtained. Okay, so now you see, using the same words, I obtained one type of building. And what is happening here, that the AI has learned based on the users that were looking for the same kind of result, that the more approved result was this kind of organic biomorphic building. So all of a sudden, we lost the exploration. There's no exploration. There's one just defined way of beauty. And I find this is common not only in image tools, but also in ChatGPT, and many others. They are giving the user what the user wants, but not what the user is looking really. So be careful of falling in these absolute results of something, because the exploration is much worth it, and this is very common in new versions, and this is really happening in our world in different areas, because everything is black and white. This this is bad, this is good, this is approved, this is disapproved. So this is beauty, this is not beauty. So that is against all the way of humans have think during history, because if we think this way, there won't be different cultures with different art expressions and many things like that. The other component is the inability to incorporate intangible values. I mean, I'm talking about love, I'm talking about passion, I'm talking about religious beliefs, I'm talking about many other things that cannot be described necessarily in a graphic way. So at this very moment, maybe that can change a little bit in the future, but it's not able to represent those values. And those values is what make us humans. So maybe sometimes the results can be very, as I said before, beautiful, but without a profound and compromise in what we are creating. The other aspect is what I mentioned very briefly before, is the job displacement, and that's that. And I believe that is going to happen in different scales. I won't be worried about it, because in terms of if we can take these tools and use it in the right way, that is not going to happen. But our reality is that we live in a very competitive world, and companies are going to use these tools to reduce personnel in their companies. And I have seen it before. There was a team of 5 guys producing a company result, and now there are just 2 because the AI is doing the rest. And that's what I believe. We need to put limits. Okay, what is the percentage of people that has the right to have a work in a company, so that the AI has to be a very little percentage in comparison. So that's things that are gonna have to be taught in the companies, but because not everything can be just the profit. The idea of design is to make other people's life better. So if it's just the profit, it loses its purpose. So this is very important. I know it's difficult, and it changes from each country, and the laws and the perspective is different in each country. So it is very probable that we don't have like temporary skills. That's what I believe is going to happen. We're going to fill the gaps in different AI stages. So we're going to have to learn very quickly temporary skills. A part of being digital artists, architects, graphic designers, whatever, those temporary skills is going to give us advantage for a period of time. It could be months, it could be a couple of years, but then all of a sudden those temporary skills are going to be reproduced by the AIs. So we're going to have to learn new temporary skills. So it's going to take us out of our comfort zone. We're going to have to be learning all the time. So it's going to be challenging, I know, but it's going to keep our minds very active. So don't be scared on jumping into those tools, because you're, as professionals, are going to need those temporary skills. And if you get very, very good in those skills, the time of the skills is going to be larger. So that's very important. Then we have the legal and regulatory regulations, a challenge which I mentioned before. We're gonna have to put limits in terms of philosophy, in terms of law, in terms of economics, and also we are missing the human relationships as a cultural process. You know, in the past, when there was a cultural art movement, it takes years. People participated and from different countries and generate cubism or generate futurism, but now this is difficult because the interactions are from distance. So we're gonna have to find a way to generate a cultural process in this. And for example, I'm going to talk about briefly about the challenges we have. So for example, The ability to maintain autonomy from AI. Okay, I'm going to use AI as a tool, but I'm going to still be a designer and use all my experience and use all my teamwork to generate a nice result, a nice design. So I believe the best advice I can give you is to stay in and out. Okay, I'm going to use AI for this period of time, that then I'm going to go out. Because if you stay inside, you can lose track of many other important information during the design process. The other challenge that is important is to differentiate our own ideas from the ones from AI, which I mentioned also before. Always be original, look for your own ideas, even if they have mistakes at the beginning, because it's normal to have mistakes during design at the beginning. Nothing is a final result at the beginning, and modern society is always looking for complete results. Since we are getting started, that is not real. Okay, the other challenge is the copyright and local regulations. This is going to vary depending on the country, depending on previous cases in terms. Let's remember what happened many years ago with photography, that it was not accepted as an art. It was it is a copy of nature, but then appear people that have talent to capture emotions, to capture scenes, and photography became an art. Also, the same thing will happened before with 3D modeling, 3D artists. I remember when I was studying architecture, all the professors told us that 3D was not architecture, and that it was useless to learn it. And now there's not a single project, at least on a bigger scale, that can be presented without animations, 3D modeling, renderings, and all that stuff. So we are living in a stage of transition, but sooner or later, this is going to be accepted if we use it as professionals, as a different type of art expression. Then we can this compensate our supply of images on designs. I was reading yesterday, for example, that we have created with AI tools the same amount of photographies we created in the last 150 years in just 1 year. So it's overwhelming. So how we can compensate that excessive amount of images? Well, with deep concepts, with deep explorations, with deep compromise during design. So the results are going to be notoriously different, and people will notice that. The other thing is the other challenge. Don't forget the importance of field work. In my case, for example, as architect, field work is you're going to learn the field work, something you're never going to learn in front of a computer. Also, designers, I don't know if you're designing something that is related to nature, go to nature to find inspiration, because you're not going to learn it from the images we download from Pinterest or we create from an AI tool. So field work is very, very important, and not to take it out from the process. And also clients fall in love with the process, not just with the end result. So this is not new. I know you all designers know it. But process is very, very important. Sometimes the result is not that good, but the process was so good that the client is satisfied. So be careful of trying to get just very quick results, but without enjoying you and letting the client enjoy and participate in the design, and feeling that they create also the project, not just the designer. They need to be part of that creation. And the other challenge is the dissociation from reality due to lack of human contact. These tools require a lot of time of in front of the computer, and you can get lost, and because it's so amazing that you spend a lot of extra time after works. So the challenge is to be a balanced person, not just a balanced designer. and invest time with your loved ones, with your families, with your dog walking around the street. I don't know, all those things that make us complete humans. So I'm telling you this because many of the people that we started a year ago we were tired months ago because the amount of time you have to invest to learn, and we were learning all the AI tools that were getting out at the same time. That was crazy because there were thousands of them. There are hundreds of AI tools. Even if you Google it, there's a page that index all the AI tools that already exist, and they are hundreds. So you're gonna take 3 lives to learn them. It's impossible. So what I recommend is you take one and learn it deeply, and maybe take 1, 2, or more just to like complements, but not that deep because we don't have time for that. And finally, these are some images of projects I created. And this is based on Yayoi Kusama, which is a very innovative artist that I admire a lot. So some of my projects are like tributes to other great designers, because, for example, in my country, not a lot of people know about her. So I want to expand it. So making tributes and letting know other people you're making the tribute, not that is your original idea. So she makes sculptures, for example, but I thought, okay, what happens if we take those sculptures and turn it into buildings? So it was very interesting. In this case, this was like a facade of a retail store. Then we can mention the opportunities, which I believe is important, and there are a lot. The first one I believe is create high quality content with few resources. That means you're gonna invest very few money in comparison to a big company, and you're gonna generate results the same quality of those big companies, or even higher than those companies. So that gives us an edge, an advantage between those big structures that sometimes are very difficult to compete. And all of a sudden, you have the chance, if you gather a design team of 3 or 5 people, to make a product that could be made by hundreds of people. So you got the chance to spot in the, and that can people see you with great stuff. So that's an advantage we have that we didn't have before. The other one is the opportunities is combine those different AI tools, because the results get higher and higher. So there are tools for digital arts, for music, for voice modeling, for 3D modeling, for graphic design. So if you combine all of them, you're gonna obtain obviously a much complex and a much high level result. The other thing, opportunities, is establish alliances with other companies. So if you got a great product that you can create with your own resources, then you can offer that great product to a big company. Then you can make an alliance with the company, or you can work with that company. So you're gonna have to make the decision. But now you got the tools to do it, and tools that 1 year ago there were not out there. So that give you a business advantage that we didn't have before. The other thing is the chance to show ideas that have never seen before, and that breaks the paradigms. So that's what I mentioned before. Why, for example, the bus stops from the cities are always the same or almost the same? Then nobody asked that question. It's just because it's cheaper. It's because there's a monopoly of a construction company. What's the reason? But because the shelter of the bus stop, the human is the most important reason to construct it. So now you can go to the source, to the root of the reason of doing things, and create new paradigms, new concepts to break what we already have. and that's very important because everything is so global. We have the same restaurants in all the planet, in all the in Earth. We got the same food, we have the same music, we have the same, and this is making us lose our own characteristics from our countries, from our cultures or religions or traditions, and that's dangerous in terms of getting to new solutions in the future, and a future that is very challenging in many ways. The other opportunity, the lower operating costs, which is, I believe, is amazing. There's a lot of competition, so I don't believe that those costs are gonna rise in the future. And the other one is the opportunity to improve quality of life, not only for you doing your designs with these tools, but also for other human beings. So it's not only about construction of the projects or the designs or the graphic designs. It is to inspire other people, because maybe you don't got the resource for a certain project, but you can inspire someone that has those resources and help someone you don't even know. So, and I mentioned this because many of the projects I've created have inspired people that have real problems in their countries, and they write to me and on Instagram, tell me, and I wish we could have this in my country, because they don't let us have it. But now that we can see it, we will try to make it real. And sometimes you're gonna obtain a business opportunity. Sometimes in life it's important to also give away things without just receiving an economic reward. Is not everything is profit. For example, this was another project that was the pensive trash bins, which was to criticize what we're throwing to the world is somehow we're gonna eat it in the future. So many people criticize this project because I use the human body to represent something that is, I don't know, related to trash, to something dirty, but it's the opposite. It's criticizing the system, and many people won't understand it in a logical way. They need a graphic way, a tangible way. So that was the purpose of this project, to make a critic, and I believe is very interesting. And now I'm gonna mention the potential trends, which I believe is I'm waiting for this. Then the next year is gonna be crazy. I'm sure about it. Is we're gonna be able to create a lot of independent movies. And I mean this, a single person would be able to create a whole movie of 2 hours of high quality. So we're going to be able to tell stories that were hidden, that were not taken by the big film companies, but that they are worth to be told. So you're going to have the chance to create those movies. I always mention to my friends, for example, a kid in the bed, and his dad is going to read a book before the kid gets to sleep, and there's going to be like holograms, but AI holograms, and the kid and the father or the mother or the three of them are going to create a real-time story, and this story is going to be materialized in real time, and they're going to change the color of the house, and then the kid is going to say, no, I want some birds walking around, I want some trees on the story, and I want that music, and they're going to create holographic stories before going to bed, and once they're going to continue that story the next day and the next day, and maybe people would like to hear those stories, and maybe there's going to be chains like Netflix and all that stuff. They're going to have to change their policies, or they will have to disappear, because I believe in the world there are so much better great stories that need to be shown, And this is related to digital arts and movies, the possibility of creating movies, independent art, which is not supported by all those big companies of or promotion that invest millions of dollars to promote a movie. The other thing is independent games. We're gonna have more capacity of creating the independent games, which is a very huge industry that makes millions of dollars a year. The other thing is gonna be the metaverse is gonna have to be reimagined, and that's what I mentioned there. The transformation between Twitter to X, because the metaverse word has been so used and the results have been so difficult to obtain that they want to have to rename it. I don't know, meta world, meta future, something different, because it has to be approached in a different way, in a more human way. So it's related to the areas, and the metaverse I work on that, and it's very hard to go forward because everything you do has to go through design, to 3D modeling, to programming, to testing. It's a lot of work. So using AI tools that are going to be incorporated, it's going to let us to create more interesting results and more human results with this multi-million sector of economy. The next thing I see a potential is in the NFTs, which right now are in a low moment. But in the future, those NFT mixed with AI and 3D printing and many other things, and representations in the real world of those NFTs is going to pump this industry again to the top. But this is not going to happen right now. It's going to take a while, but I believe it's going to happen. Other one is the advanced archaeology, which I mentioned before. We're going to find for the ones, because I'm an architect, but I love archaeology, anthropology. They are all related. This is going to be great because we're going to find so many things about our past that is going to make us understand our present and propose things for the future that is going to give us a big leap in terms of knowledge, and that's a big potential. Maybe not close related to digital arts, but close related to the understanding of reality, which is part of the process during design. And for example, we're gonna have a real-time modeling for engineering and architecture. In this case, we're gonna be able to 3D modeling and calculate budgets and many things in real time with the client, or in real time in the company meetings. So it's gonna be crazy because the AI is gonna be able to represent that in a screen, maybe in a graphic way, and that is gonna speed up the process incredibly. So those are the potentials I see in the future. I know there are more. They are going to change in the upcoming months. So you have to be. I always read articles related to this. You have to be attentive to the information that is going out. Some AI tools suddenly are on the top, and the next week are on the bottom of sales, and it's changing so fast, and the competition is so fast that you have to be aware of every week or every month to know to be more accurate of what is changing right now. And finally, this was not part of the.
And let me just interrupt you for a minute. My name is Tanya. I'm also part of the organization of this session.
Okay.
And I would need to kindly ask you for a wrap up in just 1 or 2 minutes, because
okay, perfect. No problem. This is very
okay. It's been very interesting so far.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, basically the end of this presentation, this talk, that I'm doing this with great appreciation for you all people, because we are creating our reality, and this is very important, is try to solve problems, real problems of people. It doesn't matter if it's on as I mentioned, graphic design, digital arts, movie making, filmmaking. Try to go forward and propose something new. It doesn't matter if at the beginning some people will criticize it a lot, but at the end, if it's well thought and well accomplished, it's gonna take some effect on reality. And basically that's it. This some of the designs I've tried to make life more beautiful to people and to make them be more in love of what is to come and put their effort and making a better life. And that's basically the presentation. I hope you like it. I know there's still a lot to learn, but we are all in that process, and that's the beauty of design.
Thank you so much. After all, I just interrupt you in the last minute, huh?
Don't worry.
Thank you so much, Rolando. It was really, really an amazing presentation. It was more than a presentation. It was really inspired. You know, wrap up of the important parts and challenging our minds with these different perspectives on artificial intelligence and the use of these tools in the artistic work and in the creation process, creative process. So thank you for that. I would like, well, we had a little bit more time than we predicted, but don't worry, we skip some parts of this ending of this session to other sessions in the future. But we would really like to ask our audience if there's any question, because we want to create a space for at least one or two questions before we end up and say goodbye to